Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining. Today, we're going to talk about something relatively new, which is related to CMS mandates and the FHIR interoperability. I have with me Amit from AWS, and I have John from San Francisco Health Plan. So we'll give you the perspective from different angles from us, and I work for Edifecs as a vendor, from AWS as a technology company, and from our customer, the actual user of the software. And we'll show you how things work end to end, and hopefully you can get some additional information for you as well. So I'll pass this to Amit to give the overall introduction about what AWS does in this context. In this case, we use AWS Cognito, and then we'll take it over.
Thank you, Maxim. So let's take an example of an app creator or Maxim. When he thinks of building an application, what's the cool thing? It's the idea of that application. In this case, healthcare data interoperability. That's the key idea, right? Cognito brings in, sign up, registration. That's not the cool part. The cool part is the actual healthcare interoperability. Undifferentiated heavy lifting work that is needed for an application identity, that's what Cognito helps you solve. If you take typically, what do you need? You need a user management store, right? You need a user identity store. You need to support different protocols, right? OpenID Connect, SAML, OAuth. You need to have integrations with social providers. You have to have integrations with corporate identity, maybe federate. And that's where Amazon Cognito comes to the rescue. It helps you focus on the actual business problem and not necessarily get into the nitty-gritty of setting up an identity. The identity layer is completely abstracted. Cognito, with its capability of no code, it gets you started pretty quickly and integrate, supports the standards, supports the social providers, integrates with the corporate identity providers, and helps you get moving faster. So you focus on your business problem and not necessarily get bogged down by creating the identity infrastructure. Okay, so the key is not Cognito. The key is understanding the Edifecs solutions. For that, I'll invite Maxim to go over the problem domain.
Thank you, Amit. So back to last year, January 1st last year, CMS mandate went into effect. The idea behind that was to make our lives easier, our lives as consumers. And as usual, when somebody's lives gets easier, other people's lives get more difficult. So in this case, these were health plans who needed to implement a lot of things in order for members to get access into their data, which was the core of this mandate. And getting many things in place would require a lot of technology to be involved. And in this case, we utilize AWS Cognito, and at a business level, we delivered many things which kind of comprise into our solution. The CMS compliance as a mandate, that was one thing. That was the overarching goal for us to implementing this solution. But behind the scenes, there were many moving parts. Members need to get access into their data. In order for them to get access, they need to have identity defined by the health plan. Some health plans already had the things like member portals or other IDPs, but there were many plans which didn't have that upfront. So we, as a technology vendor, needed to step in and provide them with this additional information, additional IT infrastructure, and everything needed for their members to get access to their data. So this is where Cognito came in very handy, because obviously Cognito is not the only IDP available in the market. There are a lot of vendors just on this presentation floor which provide similar services. So why did we choose Cognito as a vendor versus others? There were many decision factors. First, Cognito was very flexible comparing to other much bigger solutions. We didn't need like very large something which would cost us a lot of money, which again would cost a lot of money for peers and members. So Cognito was quite unique in that effect. So it was very cost effective. When using Cognito, we were able to achieve very good scalability across multiple what they call user pools. So we didn't need to count members as users, but instead we count members as a community. That allowed us to really scale up, and we implemented this not only in San Francisco Health Plan. We have dozens other health plans which just adopted the same pattern due to its flexibility and feature richness. So for the outcomes, so you can understand better what the health plan really achieved with that, I'll pass the mic to our friend John here so he can speak to that same problem from the health plan's perspective.
All right, good morning, everybody. So let's talk about our outcomes. So this is where the rubber meets the road. We're the plan. What does a plan do? The plan is not to be a technology solution. We have to provide services to our members. You know, it's all about best service, the best cost. You know, we had a go live date. Also, too, you got to think about this mandate. No one knew what it was until it was published. Everybody started at ground zero. So first of all, we had to learn it, and we had to find trusted partners. You know, so we looked at Edifecs. You know, we have a very specific budget because there's no ROI for this. We are told you have to do it. The money you spend is sunk funds just to make sure you have the mandate. We had to focus as a plan. We didn't want to build a whole solution because it's very complex. Then you have to connect it, as we talked about earlier, OAuth, all this highly technical. I have a 75-person IT shop. You know, we're 375 total employee company. We focused on what we had to do, data extracts, mappings, working with our vendor Edifecs, using the AWS platform to be able to give them the data that they can then present via the API and keep us compliant. That then gave us that focus. You know, Edifecs came up, here's what we can do, here's our options, we went with it. It was the best choice on our RFP. Then, like I said, it's very complex. And no one's done it before. So we went off, did it. We were one of the 30% that actually made the mandate. We did on the fly, implemented as the partners developed and piloted their consent management, their third-party app onboarding, all the new things that had to be done for this. Never could do it ourselves. So this is the model we should actually use in the healthcare industry. And then now I'll turn it back over to Maxim.
Thank you, John. So let's look a little deeper into how things work. We talked about why we built the solution and what benefits it gave to the health plan and to us as members. But let's look into how things are organized internally. So in the core of this, the icon is quite small, the red one for Cognito, but it really plays a great role into the bigger picture of our solution. So our solution was not very complex. As John mentioned, it needed to be simple enough so members can really do few simple steps to get in. So at the core of the solution was Cognito as IDP. So that was the storage for all of the credentials for our members. And this was the way for the members to come in and provide the self-registration. In order for us to verify who these members are, because anybody can come in and say he's a John Smith, we needed to have some source of truth. In our case, that source of truth, we called it a roster. This was something that the plan provided to our system. Anything from social security number, the address, the member ID, whatever can be used to verify the identity during the sign-up, and then that information went into Cognito to be stored as a source of truth. Once the member is verified, they would receive some verification email. Email was used as a primary login information. We then be able to use that same identity for members to get access into their health records stored with the health plan. So there was a combination of different technologies which were put in place together to act in tandem to solve the end-to-end problem. And that was possible thanks to great technology provided by AWS Cognito, by the platform, and with help from our partner customer health plans. So that's all we have. Thank you so much for coming in. Thank you so much. Goodbye.